Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lawrence. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. Today's episode is going to be my top 10 PlayStation 3 games of all time. Yes, I actually don't think I've done this on the channel yet. So a couple of caveats to my top 10 PlayStation 3 games of all time before we start is most of these games are fairly cheap and, especially easily accessible because most of these games I played when I was a child, and you can pick, I'd say most of them are quite common, more so. There might be a few that aren't as common, but with like some of the heavy hitters that I've been purchasing recently, I haven't actually got to play some of them yet, and I haven't played all of them all the way through, if that makes sense. I believe it does. So yeah, there's obviously quite a few notable games I haven't been putting on this list, but I digress. This is my top 10 PlayStation 3 games that I've played of all time, question mark, maybe. We'll get into it, we'll see what we've got. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you do, drop it a like, leave a comment on your own top 10s or your own personal favourite PlayStation 3 games of all time, because I would love to know. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, straight off the bat, what I will say is these are mostly franchises, which is quite surprising. When I was growing up, I didn't have too many like PlayStation 3 games. I was quite late to the party with the PlayStation 3 anyway. I got it around 2010, 2011-ish. I did have 360 before, but yeah, most of these are franchise games or a big franchise now. They probably weren't at the time, they were probably more in their infancy, but yeah. And like I said, most of these games are below like £10, £15, which is quite remarkable. Obviously, I've got most of my heavy hitters behind me, you can see them, and not any of them are actually on this list, because most of them I haven't actually got around to playing yet, as I said. So yeah, let's get into it, let's see what we've got. And with the first one coming up, it is going to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, in my opinion, this one's the best one in the franchise because you get to be on pirate ships. Who doesn't like that? The combat in this is pretty good. I will say I played this first on PlayStation 3. This is one of like my last PlayStation 3 like brand new games for the system back in the day. It came out, I believe, 2013. Yeah, so it does have the PS4 release. I actually don't own the PS4 release. I only have it on the PlayStation 3. And this was the pinnacle of the series. I know they had like Unity and Syndicate afterwards. Didn't really like them. The story in this is fantastic. It is Assassin's Creed to its core. And I think before it kind of went off the rails with a bit of Brotherhood and Revelations. A little bit, in my opinion. Don't hurt me on that. But Black Flag was fantastic, and to this day, it's still a fantastic game if you haven't played it. I would highly recommend it, and obviously on the PS3, it is £1.50. That's cheap. PS4, I believe, is probably around £10-ish, so still not really expensive. Black Flag, for me, holds a lot of good memories. It is a really good game. If you haven't played it, I'm sure you have. Most of these games you probably have played in the past, but these are my top 10 favorites. You have to have an Assassin's Creed game on your top 10, surely. You have to, especially on the PS3 era. In my opinion, you have to. Black Flag takes it for me. So there's going to be, I think, 3 maybe 4 like sports / racing titles in my top 10 because I loved that genre when I was growing up. I did like racing games. That was like my go-to. I remember playing Need for Speed Underground on the PS2 like for ages, and it was so good. That and Underground 2, oh my god. Obviously they're not on this list because they are on PS2 and we're doing a PS3 one, so yeah. Anyway, so coming up is the second one in the series, and to me it's the better one out of the 3. People would argue number 3 is the best. I would differ greatly, but here we are. Skate 2. I don't think this needs too much explanation. If you haven't played a Skate, you need to. The Hall of Meat game mode on this, probably the most fun you can have in a video game. Just seeing your character fly off the board and just the bone crunches and everything. It's just good. It is good. It's a lot of fun, especially with your mates online. It was really good back in the day. It came out in 2009, so a couple of years before Skate 3. And there is a new one apparently in the works, but not much information has been released recently on it. But yeah, Skate 2, phenomenal. I love this. I always wanted to be Tony Hawk when I was younger. I was just never that good on a skateboard. So yeah, I remember one time I went on the skateboard, fell off it, hit my back, and winded myself for a good 10 minutes. Nobody asked for that story, but you're going to get it anyway, alright? You're just going to get it. Yeah, okay, cool. So Skate 2 is a brilliant game. Again, if you haven't played it, go play it, go check it out, let me know what you think. The Skate series on PlayStation 3 has been moving up quite a lot. I believe Skate 3 is around 15. This actually comes in, I think, off the top of my head, 10-ish, 8 to 10 pounds now, which is not why I paid for it in the start, but I think it's well worth the money. I really do. Maybe Skate 3 is not worth the 15, but if you want to play some skating games, it's even in 2024. I know there's been a few like new releases like Session, Skate XL and stuff, which I haven't really dabbled in, but Skate 2 is my number. There's no particular order. I will just throw that out there. Skate 2 is my pick. Fantastic game. Go check it out. So again, focusing more on like the racing side of things, this is one of 2 racing games in my top 10. But it might not be for everybody, which I totally understand that fully, but this is my top 10. So, you know, that's why they're in my top 10. Again, this probably won't be like the best one in this series for other people, but I just remember playing the living life out of this when I first got my PlayStation 3. This was after I played like Forza Motorsport 3 on the Xbox religiously as well. Love that game. That's a good game as well. But this one is Need for Speed Shift. People may argue, why is that on your top 10 list? I understand somewhat where you're coming from, but I do like the circuit racing. I always have. I loved Pro Street when that came out, because Need for Speed was, you know, city racing, you know, against the cops and all that before Pro Street. But I like the change of pace. I like to take the cars to the track and upgrade them and everything like that. And the career mode on this was really good. It was. You have like 4 different, I think, like heat levels. 1 through 4. World Tour is like the last thing you do when you get close to like being like, I don't know, world champion, I guess. But I just remember great memories of this. Does it hold up now? Maybe not. I do like Pro Street as well. The Need for Speeds nowadays are pretty poor, in my opinion. The last one I played was Payback. I enjoyed it for what it was. Wasn't particularly overly, like, fussed. They have gone downhill. 2015 was really good. If you haven't played that on the PS4, that's a recommendation. But Shift won't set you back much. It's a couple of quid, if that. Just to me, it holds very fond memories, and that's why it's on the list. You may be thinking, why is the other game on the list and this one on the list at the same time? And that's too many times I've said lists in the last 2 sentences, so I'll stop. But I remember downloading the the demo on this on my PlayStation 3 when I first got it, and I just spent hours. It was a half an hour demo. You only got half an hour to explore, do whatever you want, and I just played it for so long until I actually bought the game. And it may not be the best in the series, it may not be the most critically acclaimed one in the series, but to me, once again, it holds that nostalgia. It's the nostalgia bug for me that really gets me. Yeah. Again, I was like 10, maybe 12. No, I was about 12, 13 when I started playing this. And yeah, by all means, to me, it holds dear in my heart. So, the next game on the list, Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. Like I said, it's probably not the most acclaimed game in the Tony Hawk series, but to me, it's so good. It's one of the last better Tony Hawk's games on the PS3, in my opinion. Like I said, I remember just playing the demo for this on my PlayStation 3. You get half an hour and you can just do whatever you want, essentially, learn the tricks, do whatever. The controls wasn't horrendous on it. Going back now, they're a little bit janky, but it just holds that nostalgia hit for me at the minute. It really does, and to me, it deserves a place on my top 10. Um, so yeah, Tony Hawk's. Who doesn't like skating games? Who doesn't? Who, you know. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Proving Ground, man, was beyond. It was brilliant. I like Tony Hawk's. So this is the fifth game. It's technically two games in one, but it's because it's just the edition I have, and this changed my love for story games. It did. I was a little bit late to the party with this franchise, but as soon as I got like the first one in the series, I was gripped, and I have loved it ever since, and it's probably my favorite franchise to actually play. And I know the film came out recently, which might give it away, which is awful. I actually stopped watching it because I just couldn't. They did such a terrible job on it, which made me so depressed. But anyway, I digress. The franchise I'm talking about, Borderlands. Specifically, Borderlands 1 and then Borderlands 2. We'll get into that. This, yeah, like I said, the shooter-looter franchise was never really a thing for me when I was younger. I was a little bit late to this. And I will admit, I played Borderlands 2 on the PS4 with the Handsome Collection. Borderlands 1, I did play on the PlayStation 3. And I don't know what it is. It's the stupidness. It's the, the cell shading. It's just everything about it works so amazingly. And with number 2, it just took it up a notch. It's the combat. It's the enemies. It's the crude comedy in the actual series. If you haven't played Borderlands, please go out and play it. To me, you won't regret it. If some people might think it's a bit repetitive with the shooter-looter sort of style, hey, each to their own, right? Each to their own. Borderlands 1 and 2, probably my favourite in the series. Pre-sequel, not too bad. Borderlands 3, not bad, not great, it was alright. And Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, not great whatsoever. So if you're looking for some, you can buy the Handsome collection of these. I think it's 2 and the pre-sequel. And then you can get the Game of the Year, Borderlands 1, which comes with all the DLC. There's so much DLC for this as well. On the PS4, I'm not sure on prices, so you'd have to go check it out. But if you haven't played the Borderlands franchise, please do. These are amazing games. You will not regret it. And this is probably my biggest recommendation for anybody, is the Borderlands series. So please, go check them out. So the next one on the list, again, probably won't surprise a single person because it'll probably make most people's lists, if I'm being honest with you. This game is just one of those living legends. It's been like, I think 12 years since it came out. 13 years, actually, saying that, since it came out. And it's been released, I think, 4 times, like differently over the last 2 generations as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I first played it on the PlayStation 3. If I look like I've been crying, I just had a sneezing fit. Yeah, so I first played it on the PlayStation 3 system, and I spent so many hours in this world. I really did. I don't think it needs any more explanation than that. It's Skyrim. This is the Legendary Edition, which comes with the DLC, which is Dawnguard, Heartfire, and Dragonborn. I haven't really played the DLC, to be honest with you, on Skyrim. I really didn't. But yeah, I don't think this needs too much of an explanation. Skyrim should be on any list because it is the best Elder Scrolls, in my opinion. And I know they did Elder Scrolls Online. I played it for a little bit. I think I played it for like a month straight, which was really good. And then afterwards, I just didn't touch it. It's just the way it happened. So yeah, that was something. Elder Scrolls Skyrim, brilliant game. Go play it. I'm sure you've all played it, and if you haven't, you've been living under a rock for the last 13 years, so go play it. Next up, we have one of 3 in the franchise now. There is a new one coming out next year, which I'm kind of excited about, but after 3, I'm kind of skeptical as well. I think I'm more skeptical with new releases anyway. But number 2 peaked. I've never played number 1. I do have the trilogy on PS4, which you can see behind me. But number 2, with the storytelling, the characters, you kind of just get washed, don't know. You kind of get put into this world. It's fantastic. the mechanics, the gameplay mechanics, the shooting mechanics, the driving mechanics. I think everything worked really well for it. And yeah, without further ado, it's probably one of my top, I'd say top 3 games on the system actually. I think I really do. It's Mafia 2. And if you've never played Mafia, honestly, the storytelling in this game is probably second to none. It's not the longest game in the world. With most PlayStation 3 games, it seems to be the case. But it's like, I don't want to say a GTA clone because it's not. It has its own identity. And it does do stuff different to the Rockstar and the GTA franchise. But you're playing a mafia person in 1940s America, I believe. And by far, the storytelling, the gameplay, just everything about it just sticks to me, especially 13 years later, 14 years later. This game holds very dear memories. I haven't played it in a while, actually, saying that, so I might boot up the trilogy and play it on PlayStation 4, because you can do that. But Mafia 2 holds a strong place in my heart, it really does. And this is a slipcover version. Yeah, it's just good. And if you haven't played it, it costs a couple of quid once again. It's not, these games aren't expensive, which is surprising. But yeah. Oh, nearly dropped it. Mafia 2. Go play it. It's a really good game. Go check it out. Talking of Grand Theft Auto, the next one is a Grand Theft Auto, and I think everybody knows it. It's GTA 4. I don't think this game needs too much explanation. To me, it's the best one in the franchise. It is the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. I love the storytelling, the dark storytelling in the actual game. It was brilliant. You get connected to Nico so quickly, and you've really vouched for the underdog in this. And it's dark, it's gritty. There's a couple of missions in there where you're just sitting, like, afterwards you're like, did that really just happen? Yes, it did. Yeah, I don't think 5 captured the same essence as what 4 did. Especially when it came out in 2008, which was like essentially one of the first like AAA games on the system, and they smashed it out of the park. Some people were annoyed or disappointed with some of the mechanics that weren't in from like San Andreas and stuff like that, but the storytelling, the missions, it's just great. It is, especially with the online. I was a little bit late to the online on this. Didn't play it too much. I played it probably like 2012, somewhere there. So just before like GTA 5 got released or announced. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Nowadays, obviously, you can't really play the online. And if you do, it's going to be like modded to hell. But GTA 4, it doesn't need too much explanation. It's another cheap one. The story is probably the best story you will play. It's just fantastic. We are coming down to the last 2 games in my top 10. If you have enjoyed, consider consider leaving a like and subscribe, because we like our PlayStation 3 content here, but it's not the only thing we do. It's not the only thing. So for the next one is, I think it's number, I don't even know what number it is in the franchise. To me, it's the better one of the 2 on the PlayStation 3. Some people may argue with it, but in my opinion, it is. It's the only one that I played quite a bit. 4 is okay. The other one on the PlayStation 4 is not great, but without further ado, Fallout New Vegas. I think Fallout has to be on anybody's list. And to me, New Vegas is better than 3. Some people may argue that, but that's okay. You can do that. I just won't listen. New Vegas just hit the nail on the head for me. It came out in 2010, which I believe is after Fallout 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one for me is the best one in the series. Fallout 4 was okay. It didn't do anything wrong, but it didn't kind of push the boundaries of what Fallout is either. And let's not even speak about 76. Thank you very much. New Vegas, yeah, by far is my favourite PlayStation 3 Fallout game, or even Fallout game in general. It really is. And I would love to see a new one. I don't know if there is going to be one or one in the works. The series was fantastic, so I'd hope accomplishments from the series that they did earlier this year, that they would hopefully release a new Fallout game. Please, Bethesda, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, Fallout New Vegas, I don't think it needs too much explanation. If you haven't played it, please, again, this game was up a little bit in price, but it's now come down. I think it's a few quid now, £3-4 maybe. The amount of hours you will get of joy and stress from this game is, yeah, second to none. So Fallout New Vegas, go pick it up. Yes, so we've come down to my last pickup. No, it's not a pickups video. To my last pick, there you go, of my top 10. And to me, this one holds the most nostalgia for me. I remember I played it on the Xbox 360 a lot more than I did on the PlayStation 3. But as soon as I got it, I had to pick it up for the PlayStation 3. It's another racing game, and I have said it a lot previously, but this game, I don't know what it is, and they haven't replicated it since. It just got me. The story's kind of crass, it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of, you don't really play it for the story. The customization on the cars, second to none. It reminds you of the one on the PlayStation 2. It really is. It's a shame they haven't done anything in this series for like 16 years now. Hopefully in the future that they will reboot it or do a remake. I wouldn't be opposed to that, because I'd like to play it in modern day with, you know, modern graphics, even though it's not all about graphics. So my last pick for me holds the most dearest to me is Midnight Club LA. This is the complete edition. I haven't fully played through this yet. I'm currently going through it, but I haven't actually completed it, so I haven't played the DLC yet. To me, this epitomizes the complete great racing game on the PlayStation 3. This is the best one, in my opinion. If you like your racing games, if you like your like sort of open worldy games all into one, this is the best. It is. I know it's my own opinion, and here, if you got your own opinions, leave a comment. I would love to hear them. I really would. But this, yeah, it really does hold some great nostalgia for me, and it is one of three games that is platinum, and I believe you can only get the platinum. You can only get the complete edition in platinum or essentials. There was never a normal release of it, or a normal case release of it, which is kind of sad, but you know, I'll happily keep this as my sort of only platinum game. But yeah, this game, second to none. I love it a lot, and if you haven't played it and you enjoy your racing games, go buy it. I think the complete edition is £10 to £20, I believe, and if you want just the normal one without the DLC, you're talking like less than £5, which is cheap for one of the best games on the system. Yeah, just great, just is. What do you guys think? These are my top 10 games on the PlayStation 3 system for me. These hold so much nostalgia and so much memories for me. It's hard to explain. Everybody's list will be different, which is perfect. That's what you want. You don't want to be like, you know, following the crowd per se, but obviously there's a few, like, I say normal ones like Skyrim and Fallout, but they deserve to be there. They deserve to be in most people's lists because they are that good and they have stood the test of time. And to me, this whole list is the epitome of the PlayStation 3 system. You've got RPGs, you've got first-person shooters, you've got everything. You've got open world, you've got racing, you've got pirates, for God's sake. You've got everything here in just 10 games. And to me, these games hold a lot in my heart, and I just wanted to share them with you, because if you haven't played a single one of these, go check them out. Most of these games, like I said, are less than £10. The only one that I believe is more is Midnight Club LA Complete Edition. That's the only one. They're all cheap. They're all readily available. You can go back and play them. Do it. You know, there's a couple of games that are on the newer systems like Skyrim, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Mafia 2 technically because of the trilogy. But yeah, go and play these games. You will not regret it. And let me know what you think down below in the comments, please. Well, that's the end. That was my cumulative list of my top 10 games on the PlayStation 3. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, because I would love to know them. I would love to know your own top 10s, because they're all going to be different. They're all going to be completely built around yourself. But there's going to be a few games that I still need to check out. There's loads of games that I still need to check out, which I haven't. I am getting around to it, I am. But life takes over, as we all know. So, until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves.